Good evening. It's Friday, the 24th of February, and it's time for the news on RIK2. President Anastasiadis told the Cyprus Weekly that the UN needs a fresh approach as peace talks falter over the Enosis row. He said the UN has to improve its game in brokering a peace deal in the Cyprus-led process with a new approach to propel the process. Where Ben Bath Ida could be criticised is on the methodology followed, or the methodology that should have been followed. He explained the agenda gets bogged down in the process while core issues are sidetracked. He added, however, that it's the first time that the UN recognised this with a Cyprus-owned process. President Anastasiadis expressed the hope that there will be second thoughts from the Turkish Cypriot side on a return to the dialogue, adding, however, he did not expect this to happen before April 16th's referendum in Turkey. He described the parliamentary decision on the union with Greece plebiscite as unfortunate and untimely, adding, however, that the Turkish reaction is too excessive. He further noted that Tayyip Erdogan's goal of success at the referendum constitutes a major obstacle for the talks, particularly the issue of the withdrawal of Turkish troops. Talks broke off, President Anastasiadis added, because the Turkish side was not in a position to contribute to what is just, namely doing away with the anachronistic right of intervention, guarantees, troop withdrawal and territorial adjustments. On the substance of the discussions, President Anastasiadis said that if all internal aspects of the Cyprus issue conclude before the international elements of security and guarantees, then the Greek Cypriot side will have no negotiating card to prompt the Turkish side to meet Nicosia's expectations on security. He further rejected criticism that he's already launched his re-election bid, saying that the last thing on his mind right now are the presidential elections. In later statements, President Anastasiadis said he would be sending a letter to the UN Secretary-General by Tuesday, describing the current state of play in negotiations following the withdrawal of the Turkish Cypriot side. The Turkish Cypriot leader said he would be returning to the talks only when the Enosis decision is overturned. The French Foreign Ministry says it regretted the cancellation of yesterday's Anastasiadis Akinci meeting. It is added that this meeting should have signalled the resumption of discussions between the two Cypriot communities. France noted that it stands alongside the parties in their efforts to achieve the goal of reunification, which now seems to be within reach. Greek armed forces remain on a high state of alert following intensifying Turkish violations in the Aegean Sea area over the past week. NATO, of which both Greece and Turkey are members, is also keeping a close eye on the tense situation, with alliance ships monitoring Turkish movements. According to the CYBC correspondent in Athens, the Turkish president is climaxing a series of Aegean Sea incidents in the past few days, aiming to maximise on the nationalist vote in light of the constitutional amendment referendum on April the 16th. Turkish oceanographic boat Çeşme is also in the northeastern part of the Aegean to gather seismographic elements for energy exploration, Turkish authorities have said. Its movements are being closely monitored by the Greek Navy, with Athens maintaining a wait-and-see stance, but determined, as it warns, to respond to any Turkish aggression in the area. Two Turkish servicemen believed to have been involved in the plot to assassinate Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan during the July coup attempt in the neighbouring country are being held in custody in Alexandroupoli. The two men, former members of Turkey's special forces, entered Greece illegally through the Evros border crossing a few days ago and turned themselves into police authorities in Orestiada. Through a local lawyer, the two commandos applied for political asylum on February the 20th. They had eluded arrest for months until they entered Greece. The pair are believed to have told Greek investigators that they were indeed involved in a plot to assassinate Erdogan. So far, there has been no Turkish request for their extradition. Meanwhile, Ankara has submitted a fresh extradition request for the 8 Turkish servicemen who Ankara have accused of being involved in the coup attempt. Battered Britain is now on flood alert as the nation cleans up a trail of destruction left by killer storm Doris. Warnings for up to 4 inches of rain are in place, triggering a raft of flood alerts around the country. Heavy snow in parts of Scotland and the north will melt as temperatures lift, causing water to gush from hilly regions. The Environment Agency has issued flood alerts across northern England, East Anglia and Wales. Government forecasters warn of a return to wet and windy weather tomorrow after a chilly end to the week. The Met Office said more than an inch of snow could fall even across low ground in Scotland, with untreated roads likely to freeze over. Tomorrow there will see a return to wet and windy weather with heavy rain in the northwest, as temperatures will return to more normal values for the time of the year. A British passenger plane suffered a gear collapse upon landing yesterday at Amsterdam's Schiphol airport as heavy winds battered Western Europe. No one was hurt during the landing, said authorities at the airport, one of the busiest in the world. The landing gear of a Flybe airplane carrying 59 passengers collapsed during touchdown and the aircraft landed on the right wing. A car bomb in a village near Al-Bab in Syria struck Syrian rebels fighting Islamic State early today, killing at least 29 people and wounding dozens more. The car bomb struck military and security offices in Souzian, which is behind the rebel lines about 8 kilometers northwest of Al-Bab. Syria's main conflict pits President Bashar al-Assad, backed by Russia, Iran and Shiite militias, against rebels that include groups supported by Turkey, the United States and Gulf monarchies. However, both sides, as well as a group of militias led by Kurdish forces, are supported by the US, are also fighting Islamic State, which holds large swathes of northern and eastern Syria. Now for the weather forecast. Mostly clear skies are expected tomorrow. Winds will be moderate, force 3 over slight seas. Temperatures will reach 20 Celsius inland and in coastal areas and 9 over the mountains. The depth of snow on Mount Olympus is 40 centimetres and 30 over the Troodos Square. That's all from us here. Join us tomorrow for more news in English. Have a very good evening.